At Oracle's Primavera applications, we are incredibly excited about the marriage of Internet of Things with the project portfolio management solutions that we bring to market. As many of you know, Primavera applications are used for managing the complete life cycle of assets, from planning, building, and operating of those assets. And what we find is, with the Internet of Things, there is a significant room for improving the construction productivity that occurs throughout the build process of these particular assets. So much so that in a recent study, McKinsey had highlighted that by the year 2025, the Internet of Things is going to have an impact of close to $1 trillion on the upper end in terms of improving construction productivity on work sites. So what you'll see today are two major classes of use cases that highlight the ability to do better monitoring, better control, better optimization, and ultimately better autonomy at these work sites. The first one is what we call connected construction. The ability to do simple tasks that are incredibly manual today. The number of workers that showed up on the work site, the number of contractors by trade. Where are they at the work site at any given point in time, in real time, as opposed to getting that data later on? That's simple visibility for a construction manager, an executive, to have a real-time view of those assets, whether it's equipment, whether it's workers, whether it's contractors. It's a great visibility into what is really going on at a site. Many of us know that construction process is an orchestration of a large symphony. There are contractors, there are subcontractors, there are employees. There's a significant supply chain element that's involved in it. And as the Internet of Things comes into the construction work site and you pair it with execution capabilities that Oracle Primavera brings to the table, you have better ability to do just-in-time scheduling, to do dynamic sequencing of work. As we know, on construction schedules, there are buffers that are built in. And one of the studies that was done in the early 2000s highlighted that these buffers account for almost 70 to 80% idle time at these work sites. So that better orchestration from both human elements, human productivity, and the data that comes in through these sensors will allow us to shorten those buffers and, as a result, create that construction productivity improvement over the due course.
If I'm the construction manager today, the only way I get the updates from the field are, at the end of the day, either I get the daily reports, meeting minutes, action items, or maybe some of the safety incidents. And with this, what happens is, I will be able to get all the updates, but by the time I actually make an action out of it, it might be a couple of hours or a couple of days even. So what we're trying to do with the Internet of Things is, how can we really leverage all the sensor data and get a real-time information and make sure we cut down the turnaround times and improve the productivity at the field as well as the project management aspect of it. Now let's look at the scenario where I'm the project manager responsible for 4 different projects at 4 different geolocations. And now let's look at the site one. I will be able to look at, hey, show me the material, what is existing on the on-site, and I'll be able to filter the material. The good thing with this is we know where the work is happening and we know where the material is. Now I see that the precast piles on the screen are situated way beyond the work site. So that means I can quickly give a call to the supervisor and then say, hey, what's happening with the precast piles? Are we supposed to move them? Do we have the machine to actually move them or not? Not only that, we'll be able to also get a real-time information on the summary of what's happening on site. For example, in this case, there are 9 electricians, 3 iron workers, and 3 laborers. For example, today the job says there's supposed to be 10 electricians, but I only see 9 electricians. So I'll be able to again quickly give a call to the supervisor and say, hey, what happened to the extra electrician? Do we still need him or we don't need him? And not only that, on the work site, the worker well-being and safety is the prime important. And the way we do it today is somebody is there on site every 1 week or so. They keep talking about the OSHA compliance, but then how do we really know that it is actually being done? So the way we do it with the help of Internet of Things is we have the temperature sensor, we have the air quality sensors, and all these sensors will give us the right amount of data for us to be able to proactively make sure the OSHA and safety compliance are being met. For example, I'm able to get a lot of notifications from my job site where the air quality has reached unsafe levels. So in that situation, I can simply call up my supervisor or a foreman and say, hey, we need to stop the work until the air quality has reached a safe level to work again. So when we really look at all these use cases within the Primavera applications, one thing you can clearly see is you not only get a real-time information and situational awareness of what's happening on site, but over a period of time, you will be able to analyze these trends and make much more predictive analysis on the top of what we have.
The second one is once you've built these assets, you've got to maintain these assets over the course of sometimes many decades. So how do you manage better maintenance of those particular assets? And once again, the Internet of Things holds significant promise in terms of decreasing the maintenance that's required in keeping these assets up by as much as 25% over the next 9 years. And it's highlighting that over the course of the same time frame, the planned outages will go down by roughly about 50%. So let's talk about that for a sec. What occurs today is that if you have any type of equipment, if it breaks down, there is a manual process that's involved in figuring out what broke down. Somebody has to report it, and then all work orders and others take off from there. When you have sensors that are part and parcel of these applications and they're feeding this data into applications like Primavera, you can be a lot more intelligent, a lot more proactive in making sense of that data. So rather than a human, for example, reporting that a chiller has gone down, for example, that data is going to come in directly from these machines. So you have a lot more information available to you, and you can quickly get that piece of equipment back up on. And taking it one step further is what we call intelligent maintenance, where you're looking at data that might be coming from these sensors over the course of a significant period of time, months, sometimes even years, and that'll give you a visibility on what kind of spikes are occurring so you can do more intelligent, conditions-based maintenance.
So in this example, we have the HVAC system that is sending in the data continuously to the IoT cloud service, and the IoT cloud service will be able to listen to all these messages, and then we'll be able to define the thresholds within the IoT cloud service, and the Primavera unifier listens to only those events when there are exceptions. This is the HVAC system that we have. We're able to short circuit the HVAC system, and on the IoT cloud service, you see that there are thousands of messages that are coming in, but at the same time, we don't really need to listen to each and every data point. All that we really care about is whenever there is a short circuit in that sense. And now what this really does is the fact that there is a short circuit now, on the Primavera unifier side, we are able to automatically create a work order. Not only that, once we open the work order, we'll be able to get to the exact data from the HVAC system at the point of the failure. So if I'm the field technician, I'm going to fix the HVAC, I don't need to really second guess on what is the data, what is the temperature, what is the oil viscosity for the cooling system. So all this data is right packaged into the work order that we have created just now. And not only that, with the help of the Primavera Unifier Mobile, we'll also be able to look at the work order right even when you are not there at the desk, and we'll be able to respond right away on the work orders. Think about down the line 6 months, 1 year point of time, I not only know what kind of regions am I having the most failures of this HVAC system, but I will be able to answer questions like which manufacturer is causing most defects, which model is causing most defects, and I will be able to positively affect my operational as well as the capital expenditure from there on.